Hey, mamas. Thanks for letting us join you once again. I am Celeste Howard here with Rowena, Pam, and Liz, the Mom Collective. And we are wrapping up our season. Thank you so much for letting us join you and come to you and talk to you about just becoming mom, the really foundational aspect of our vocation. Today, we have a kind of a fun wrap up. I know that we've talked about it, even just in who we are, that we're four moms, different ages and phases of motherhood. And I don't know, it dawned on me as we're wrapping up, I don't know that we've really truly explained the different phases, and wanted to kind of have a brief explanation on that. And with that, sort of a shout out to all the moms that might not be phase one moms, which is what we focused on this season, and just kind of go from there. So we'll start off with a little bit of a recap on since we've talked to y'all last, things that have kind of gone on in our lives. Who wants to share high low?
I mean, I'll have to think for a hot minute. There's a few.
I've got a low.
Okay, well, let's hear it.
Okay. We want to start off on a low note. I started potty training today. I know everyone thinks it's high because eventually there'll be no diapers, but my son.
I don't think it's a high. Rowena said it was a low.
Did you?
That was a high.
Okay.
When I had that breakdown the other day.
Yeah, that was
part of
I would say it's keeping the low.
I'm just not. The way we do it is by that book. I'm sure a lot of people have heard about the Oh Crap book. Literally, it's what it's called. Yeah, that's the title. And you basically let them run around naked for like a day or two, and then you try the clothes and stuff. So, but you have to be like on them like white on rice. Like you have to be with them 24/7. And
how's
if
it going?
Blink, it's just my mental health at the end of the day is not great. Like with my son, I mean, he was potty trained within a few days, so it was great. But I do remember being like, I think I need to call my therapist because I'm not well, because it's just a lot. Because I'm very much like, I get the kids, we go do activities out of the house, we're all great for it. That's just how we roll. That's like how we live our best lives. Yeah. And so it's just really hard. But I know it's just for a blip. But yeah, today was day one, so I did get lucky because I got to escape to for this. Yeah. So and my mom was with me all day, so she was with me with my son, so she kind of knows. Okay. But yeah, so there it is. But it still wasn't fun.
Yeah.
I did that though. They were naked all the time. It's easier that way.
That's what they say.
Yeah.
And my son was quick, but I do remember still being not well at the end. It's so fun. Get out of here.
It just adds another layer, like especially if you're leaving the house.
Yeah.
It just adds another layer to the chaos because you're like,
yeah.
Okay, at any moment we're gonna have next.
Yeah.
And then I feel like we might like digress.
Like you have to find a bathroom immediately before that.
Yeah.
It is
carry the potty with
panic.
you. Yes.
Yeah. I do have a high. My first grandson, the first of two to come, was born. And so he's good. He's a really good. I keep telling my daughter, you don't know how lucky you are. They don't know. If it's their first one, they don't know how lucky they are. He was sleeping 4 hours like at a week. So anyway, he's in and the next one's up in a couple of weeks. So yeah, well, just like you.
Big summer.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's so great.
My high actually happened yesterday at Mass. My 14-year-old, who I have 4 boys, and I would love for at least one of them, if not all of them, to be altar servers in Mass. None of them are. In school, they have to be, so they do that. Oh. But like at our parish, they don't. So we kind of bargained with our 14-year-old. And yesterday, he's been like a youth usher at our church. Oh. He got to wear a headpiece and look really official. And I can't even explain to you guys like what a full circle moment that was, because I also work at the home parish that we go to church at. I work there as staff, and
he's adulting, bro.
He's adulting. Our 14-year-old's adulting with the headset, looking so official as a youth usher, and letting helping with the baskets during the offertory, and
I love that.
Oh, that's awesome. I was beaming.
Of course you were.
Me too. That's so sweet.
I think that is let's just keep going with that. That's a perfect segue into the phase 2. Like we've been talking, everyone knows the phase 1, the learning to not be single anymore, and how to have not just 2 arms and 2 legs, but 4 arms and 4 legs, and then 6 arms and 6 legs. And life moves differently with all those appendages. And it's hard. But then you move on. Once you're not just worrying about how to get your balance. Then you move on to actually raising your kids and cultivating a soul. What do you spend your time doing? How would you explain the phase 2 mom that you are?
I'm in a weird phase getting out of that transition of like little ones. And I have older kids who are self-sufficient and have their interests and their social lives. I want nothing more but to not be splintered as a family. We're always split up. And now we've entered into a season where, you know, Sunday Mass is an obligation, but sometimes we're not together as a family during Sunday Mass. And that was very hard for me the first 3 Sundays that we were not together as a family because somebody had a tournament and we, of course, we honor our obligation, but I'm kind of like in a season, whether it's living in the car and dropping everyone off at all the different things. I just want to, like, I miss the moments where I had everybody together and now we're just splintered. And I don't mean to sound so negative, but yeah, I've got older kids who have social lives and activities, and I've got younger kids who are getting into activities and have, you know, learning having like some kind of social life other than the play dates that I would make for them.
Right.
It's just a really different
That is hard.
dynamic to,
Well, and
all
as that
those
high
kids.
schooler gets more entrenched in high school too,
Yeah.
more and more he's going to fall off. And I know it's sad. It is sad. And I get it, but it's part of the progress, right? It's just part of moving forward. You can't stop moving forward. You just can't.
No.
I know. It's okay to be sad.
It's hard.
It's okay.
But there are moments where I'm like, what a fun time, because at the same time, we're really learning who they are.
yeah.
And you're seeing the fruits of what you tried to establish
Yeah.
and sow
Wow.
very early on.
Yeah.
And just the way that they maybe talk to their friends or complain about their friends, it's kind of like, well, you know, the formation was actually quite solid because he actually chose good over bad, you know? And that's really cool to have those like aha moments with the older kids. But then oh my gosh, then there's those moments where I'm like, okay, the next 5 years.
It only gets better.
My gosh.
It's awesome.
It does.
Every phase is better than the next. I think.
But yeah, but you know, you go at like early on, it's a lot of hands-on and you're sweating and it's a lot of
Yeah.
physical
Yeah.
logistics.
And you're tired.
But now it's, like the exhaustion that comes from the connection or maybe sometimes lack of connection and just like the emotional, the headspace where you're at with your kids. It's different. I mean, I'm new at this. Like, what did you say? Like you're only as old as your oldest kid. So I've been a mom for 14 years and this is it's an interesting, very interesting phase. And I'm going through a lot of transition too. I'm going from middle school to high school, but still having like the little baby,
You
potty training
You have a little
3-year-old.
straggler. Yeah.
It's very cool because I get to live all the different phases.
But can I tell you something about that little straggler? Because I had one. You get the older ones up and running and out, and then I've never been so grateful to have that straggler, because I could sit and rest, and because it's hard to rest when you have all of them and those older ones, and you just can't.
Yeah.
And I was able to actually sit and rest and enjoy her high school years. I apologize to the older ones. I'm sorry, but I could live in the moment of her high school years because the older ones were gone too. So that straggler, it's nice. It's kind of like a little reward, honestly.
It is a reward, and you get to relive those moments that's so like dark and overwhelming, and like, will this ever end?
Yeah.
But to like really relive it with like just a new fresh lens, but also you're just better equipped.
Yeah,
you know?
because you've been through it before.
Yeah.
You know, you can enjoy it more.
I love that.
And you have learned, and you have been able to do it, and you had experience, like a more professional mom of
Yes.
a 3-year-old, or a more professional potty trainer than Pamela is right now. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember saying on social media on the last day of school, I said, I'm so happy in this season of motherhood. Like I love feeling all the transitions and like really seeing what we work so hard to plant and ingrain and develop really come to fruition. It's very cool. It's very, very cool.
That is so beautiful to hear and hopeful.
I mean, I just hope and pray that they, like my biggest thing is I hope they always have their faith in whatever way that looks like. But I don't know.
They will, because they have their parents as an example.
I mean, right. That's the hope.
They will.
Our passion for our faith.
And I like too how you're talking about planting and what you've ingrained in them, and how that becomes your task. That's kind of what's at the front of your mind as a phase 2 mom, it's not as much house logistics and how to manage yourself. It's trying to teach your kids how they can manage themselves. Like it's all about, the phase 2 is all about training your children. Like Liz was saying, it is constantly changing, and because they're constantly growing, and your kids, they look, and it's hard, but as a mom, you need to keep changing too. And what it looks like to be a mom is going to change as quickly as the way they look changes. And I think that was something I didn't realize, because I got into a phase that I was most comfortable in and wanted to hold on to that. But it changes. And so I remember praying about it and God really kind of showing me, here I go again with my sports analogies, which are really funny because I don't play any sport.
I'm not an athlete.
So I had an analogy with a certain sport, but Liz, who is more of the sports aficionado, like said that it is better to use baseball as my sport.
T-ball.
Well, so, but I'm progressing the phases of baseball.
Okay.
So here's my analogy. So phase 1, okay, you're a T-ball coach, baseball coach. And phase 1, you have to just learn the rules of the game. You have to learn how to be a coach. What are things coaches do? How do you set it up? What do you need to bring to practice? What do you have to know? What's your knowledge? Like you're feeding yourself to like even research what is the job. That's like phase 1. Then phase 2, you actually get kids, on the team who can walk. But you're teaching baseball, but you're really teaching them like how to stand in line, how to wait their turn, how to like hit, like actually make contact with some ball on a thing, and you're holding their hands to help them get through it. They're playing baseball, sort of, but they 100% need you to do anything. And that's similar to how your kids hang out with friends or have play dates when they're phase 1, but you're right there in it. Like you have to help them be kind, to share. Like you are micromanaging in the most positive way. You're teaching them the rules of the game, but then you need to get off the field. Like a baseball field coach, when the kids are finally learning, is not on the field. He watches the game. He can give advice. He or she, I guess, moms here, but you do a lot of watching and a lot of taking notes for how you're going to train them. So there's specific times that you have for training, like you have practice, that you work on certain skills that they need to be better at. You've taught them things, and then you sit back and watch how they do it, but you don't just jump right in and say, don't do it, that's wrong. You'll say, okay, note to self. We need to really work at generosity. We need to build the virtue of humility. We need to build, those kind of things. And it's a much more productive motherhood when you are training your child, when you're trying to cultivate. You're not just watch and criticize. It's like you're training them. So I think that, I think that's a lot of what you spend your time doing. And then you get into the back half of phase 2, and you're like, I don't know that I want all the space. Like, come in. And
where is everybody?
And so you're kind of now protecting in the same that we talked about last time. Good things don't just happen. If you want your kids actually on screens a little less, or with friends a little less, or out doing stuff a little less, you have to make it happen. Or if you want family time, you have to make it happen. What are ways that you make sure you get family time, or they get time for their faith, or they get time with their siblings? Because I know with my kids, as school comes into the picture, you could just kind of keep going with the momentum. They wouldn't naturally get time with each other. We had to really make that a priority.
So this weekend was a perfect example. It was kind of a strange weekend. We didn't have anything on the calendar. There's just like no commitments, no events. Nobody was really needed. I mean, there's gym time. My husband played basketball with some friends Saturday morning. And I mean, they're like things that we do, but there was no, weddings or baptisms or birthday parties or just no commitments.
Yeah.
And we were like home a lot. And it was cool because my husband and I, we were in the kitchen, whether it was making a meal or making a cocktail.
Yeah.
And we could hear, it was so loud in the house because all 4 boys were home, but they were playing together. And like the bigs with the littles and making memories.
Yeah.
And so if I could start a tradition, or if this is the beginning of a tradition, in the times of like stillness, if we can like make it a point to stay home and like bond and connect and play and mess up the house and just be like at home.
Because I would think it would be super tempting to fill it with to-do lists.
Well, I kind of felt guilty that I wasn't like having something on the schedule. Like I didn't put anything on the schedule. Did I fail?
Yeah, right.
But am I lazy? Have I dropped the ball? Did I forget something? It was really, oh gosh, life-giving. My husband was like, let them play. Let's just hang out. Like we don't have to be anywhere. And I don't know. I don't know. Could that be our new tradition? I hope so.
Yeah.
Oh, this might be the only good advice I have on this podcast since I'm in the early season. But to your point, I read a book a few months ago, actually like 6 months ago, by the Pop Checks, and it was about keeping Sunday family day sacred. So mine are 4 and 2, so we're not in the crazy season yet. But we did start instilling Sunday was just with family. And if it couldn't be Sunday, if something important came up, then we'd substitute it for something on Saturday, where we did a family-centered event where it could be at home, where each family member picked what they wanted to do. And sometimes it's movie night. Sometimes it's he wants to go in the backyard and my son would play in our bounce house and we just grill out. But that is one thing we've kept sacred for about 6 months, and it is game-changing.
Yeah.
It is. But the funny part about that is in the beginning, we realized we don't have the kids yet who have the friends and all that. It was me and my husband that had a hard time.
Oh.
Because the social life. Or if we were used to, well, if we're going to be together, let's go be together with other friends that have little kids.
Yes.
And so, but we realized the intentionality of you do that, but you're not bonding with your kids. You're talking with the adults, and the kids are with the other kids.
Right, they're playing.
So they're off. And you don't realize that until you're aware of it. And that book helped me see that. And I remember we had to say no. We were going over to friends, like a lot of Sundays. They would grill out. And it was like family, but it was with them, and they have a little boy my son's age and a little girl my daughter's age. And my husband had to tell Dad, like, no, Sunday's now family day.
Oh,
we're doing this.
Wow.
And even he was like, well, I mean, you're coming with your family. He's like,
right,
come on.
Right, but it's like just our.
And he was even like, well, and I was like, no, it's just our family, just our family. So
there was traditions.
It wasn't an alternate, but it required us to be intentional, and it was really hard.
Like,
and it was hard for both of us.
It's just you guys.
And I think the big thing is my husband turned to me and he was like, well, at least just witness to them, because they didn't fully, they were like, wait, what? Because you're not used to that.
That's true.
But you don't realize that you're someone in their life that takes the family serious. Maybe if more people did it makes them think.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I did have a conversation with the wife we had later and talking about it. She was like, that's a good idea. So you just never know.
There you go.
But it's hard because if you're the only one going against the grain of the culture.
But you are with your family. Let's all
FOMO.
I don't want to miss out.
Yeah, we even did. This is hard for my kids, but we didn't let them do sleepovers when they were younger because we just wanted people home together with their family, waking up in the morning with their family, and they could do it if they had a friend that lived far away and it was something where it's the only way they could see them, then they were allowed to. But if it was just more is more, they would see those kids at school all day. And we also had a no play dates or no getting together with friends on weekdays because they're at school with them.
Yeah.
And it's kind of one of those things where you need to take control of what you want to have happen. I still remember talking to some of my high schoolers had some issues with it, but they weren't allowed to go do stuff on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday night, whatever. There were the sports, there was the play practice, there was the this or that. And then when they were home, they were home. Yeah. And like I had to show them their siblings are the most important people and their siblings were the most worth their time. And this day, like they're all each other's best friends. Like when they're asked, if you could pick any 3 or 4 people or whatever and go somewhere, they all pick each other because they had that time. Whereas the people that they knew in elementary school or high school, they wanted to see on a Wednesday night because everyone's going out to Whataburger or something. You don't always keep in touch. You're going to see them at school the next morning. Yeah. It's not like it's summertime and the rules are different.
I said this on the last episode.
But you have to do it on purpose.
But to her point, we've asked your kids, and they've all said they would rather be with their siblings. And they're in college or graduated. Yeah.
And the married ones too. Yep. Agreed. So, and that are just to kind of stay on track
Sorry,
a little
we
bit.
kind of
Yeah,
segued
so
off
we had the
topic.
phase
Yeah,
one,
topic.
the
On to
phase
topic
two.
three.
No. We kind of got into what the things that you focus on when you're a phase two parent. And now the phase three and phase four are a little bit intermixed, but your job as coach. So again, you used to be on the field, helping them get in line, and then you teaching them how to manage the ball. Then you're on the sideline and you're watching so that you can train them. But then there's a point that the kids know the rules of the game. And I think that happens younger than we think. And you have to transition. You are no longer their coach, but you stay present. Like I say at this point, you become a cheerleader. They don't want you in the stands. They don't want you gone. They'll try to make space. And I think that gets a little confusing because usually your kids don't want any space at all. And I think it is a tendency to pull away a little too much as a parent, or not take the cues and fight and try to keep the role and stay on the field. But what kid who, you taught your kid to play football and then they miss some catch and you say, catch the ball. Like your kid doesn't know they're supposed to catch the ball. That's not good space for relationship. That's not a conversation starter. So I do think you're a cheerleader, and that doesn't mean you're disconnected. A cheerleader is there. They know their history. They know how hard they've practiced as a team. They can empathize when things are going hard, when things are a struggle. The players can look to the side and see someone they have history with who supports them and loves them even if things are hard and can cheer them on like, you could do this. And then when things are good and they are mastering it and they are knocking it out of the park and they're being ushers or altar servers or making good decisions with friends or not gossiping or having a pressure, doing all these things you're proud of, they need someone who knows them, that celebrates them, that really was like, I know that you've done this on purpose, or I'm proud of you. To see them and to call out specific affirmation. I think that's like specific affirmation is as important, if not more important, when your kids are older as specific discipline when they were younger. I think that helps them identify their strengths and helps them really take ownership of their good decisions. But that's hard to go from a coach on the field who's absolutely necessary to a coach who is managing and controlling everything in every play to a cheerleader. Feels like you've just gotten a swift kick, but like it's so important to have someone encourage you. And I know that it is a struggle phase. So phase 3 we're saying is like when you have young adult kids, and then how can you have kids under your roof, but giving them some kind of autonomy? And I found that it's by being a very active cheerleader, a very active, empathetic person, a very active affirmation person. And then you're in phase 4, which I'm transitioning into a little bit. I'm kind of between two, and Liz is in, where you're going to be empty nesters. Like people are grown up and your kids are older and you definitely are not coach anymore. It's actually really insulting when you try coaching, but the same thing. It's also not see you later. He was sharing about friends whose parents have just moved away. But like,
same. I have a bunch of friends who are in the season I'm in, and their parents, even some who were stay at home, one is of 10, are moving away to a completely different region of the country where none of their kids are. But
crazy.
Because
you just think you're done. You're like, my kids don't need me.
And that's
my job's done.
What they said. Then I have another friend here, same thing. Like it was like 4 kids and no one there. But because I don't know what it is. There's actually, I know if you're on social media, I've seen like those about this where they're like, this generation of grandparents just doesn't want to do anything. And that's I think the view we take as it. But I think, Celeste, you brought it up.
I think you feel rejected and you're trying to figure
there
out.
was something else.
I don't want to cause fights. I don't want to be a helicopter parent. I don't want to be controlling. So peace out.
Yeah.
And there's something between the two.
Like it causes a lot of pain. A lot of pain. I talk about this a lot actually with other moms who are going through this, and it's really sad. And then there's a study out there that even says grandparents involved with their grandkids live longer.
Oh yeah,
like significantly.
Yeah. Stay young.
And it's just a family unit, but I don't know what it is right now with the culture, but it's sad. But I didn't think about it from the perspective you said. I just think that they're not needed almost anymore, or they're not supposed to be, or that's hindering or something.
Mm-hmm. So I think when you're like a phase 4 mom, everyone still needs their mom. Everyone needs someone to empathize, someone to help, someone who's looking out for them, someone who knows them. Gosh, to be known, so important. But I don't think we're going to know the rules all by ourselves. You've got to ask.
I don't think
You got
I've
to ask
ever
what you want.
needed my mom more than when I became a mom,
Yeah.
especially at the beginning, because there's nothing like it. No one teaches me. Who better to teach you than your mom who raised you?
Right.
And the affirmations, I mean, that's the number one thing I think we crave as young moms because we don't know what we're doing.
But then at the same time as that mom on the other side, I give them what they ask for. I'm very careful not to overstep my boundary. You know, I wait for their lead and for their ask before I give opinions or advice or whatever, because I don't want to overstep my boundary. And they're very good at leading me.
Right.
Which is fine.
You need to talk. You need to talk. Like you need to have conversations.
They'll let me know what they need and what they want, and what they will let me know what advice they want from me, and then that's the advice I give, and then and I'm not going to move away. Although none of them live here, so it doesn't matter.
But you're always home base.
Yeah,
Home base
for
right
now. Yeah. So,
but I think that's just that's beautiful, and it's also a struggle. I think all the transitions are just hard. I think change is hard. I think growing is hard. There's growing pains. And I just own it. I think when you're a phase 1 mom and you're transitioning out of being single, that's hard. I think when you've had kids home 24/7 and you're phasing out of that, that's also hard. And there's no shame in any of that. Like if you're have a hard time being a young mom, just doing more and more and more while you feel like you're failing or feeling like you wish you could get away, isn't going to solve the problem. Our feelings are there on purpose. Our emotions are there on purpose. They're telling us something is not being fed. And it takes intentionality. Like we always say intentionality, but it really does. And it takes self-awareness. Like being aware at every phase, where's the struggle? And if you have to mourn some change in your life that you liked, great, go for it. But know God's promises. He has set a place before us. He has gone ahead of us, as he says in Jeremiah. Just trusting in him that the best is always yet to come, and that he has blessings abundantly ahead of us, no matter how hard it is or how much we want to resist the change. And as your kids grow up, you still have your kids, and you make time to meet with them. It continues to look as different as your kids look different from year to year. Mm-hmm. But that's a little wrap up for our phases that we're going to continue delving into as our seasons progress. We thank you so much. It has been such an honor and a privilege to be welcomed into your home, into your space, in your car, in your room, in the kitchen while you're doing dishes, whatever it is. The fact that you've allowed us to walk beside you and to call you friend has just really been such a blessing to all of us.
Yeah. So thank you. We know that you're busy. We say this all the time. We know you're busy. We're busy. We're all busy. Thank you for letting us come to you. And for those of you who haven't done so already, now is your time to hit that subscribe button. Subscribe for us here to get more amazing mom talks, right?
And so it also, when our season 2 comes out on Cultivating a Soul, where we're talking more about phase 2 and cultivating the soul of your child and what all of that is in raising children, you can be alerted and be the first to know.
I feel like we're just getting started. Yeah.
We're barely scratching the surface.
So yes, come back for more. And if you're not on YouTube and you can find us, you can also find us on Spotify. You can follow, or whatever the terminology is for that platform. We'd love your support.
Or you can find us throughout the week by joining the Mom Collective on Instagram, Facebook, or at themomcollective.org.
And if you know anybody who might be interested or blessed with our content, please share us with them.
And until we get to chat again, just remember you were handpicked for this. So lean in. Okay. God bless. Bye.